we shall explain to those who are endowed with the fourfold qualifications the mode of discrimination, which is the means of liberation. What are the fourfold qualifications? The capacity to discriminate between the permanent and the impermanent, dispassion to the enjoyment of the fruits of one's actions here and hereafter, the group of 6 accomplishments, inner wealth, beginning with Sama and the yearning for liberation. What is meant by discrimination between the permanent and the impermanent? The reality alone is eternal. Everything else is ephemeral. This conviction alone is the discrimination between the permanent and the impermanent. What is dispassion? The absence of the desire for the enjoyments of the fruits of one's actions in this world and in heaven. What is the inner, starting with Sama? They are Sama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksa, Shraddha, and Samadhana. What is Sama? It is control or mastery over the mind. What is Dhamma? It is the control of the external sense organs, such as the eyes, etc. What is Uparama or Uparati, as it is also known? It is the strict observance of one's own dharma, duty. What is Titiksa? It is the endurance of heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc. What is the nature of Shraddha? Faith in the words, etc., of the Guru and Vedanta, the scriptures, is Shraddha. What is Samadhanam? It is the single-pointedness of the mind. What is Mumuksattvam? Let me attain liberation. This intense desire is Mumuksattvam. This is the fourfold qualification. Thereafter, they become fit for the inquiry into the truth.
And from these verses, we can understand which are the prerequisites of an adhikari. Adhikari means student or follower of this study, of this spiritual path. So we need to have these qualifications in order to start this path of Advaita Vedanta, and in particular the study of this particular scripture. So whatever you did in the previous janmas, in the previous reincarnations, which, as I mentioned before, they are just dreams, projected dreams, and nothing more, because in reality nothing ever happened and nothing will ever happen. Even if this sounds very, very difficult for you to grasp it now, sooner or later you will arrive to this mature state of pure understanding and pure maturity, of being able to assimilate this truth. So after so many previous lifetimes, you have been preparing yourselves with practice, spiritual study, by following a spiritual path, by following a guru, by doing your meditation, and so on and so forth. So you have now arrived to this maturity where you are able to go beyond the conventional religions and the conventional studies, and being able to go and to do this special leap into the transcendental wisdom of Advaita Vedanta. See, Advaita Vedanta is not for the masses. It's not for everybody. Sanatana Dharma, which is the biggest context of Advaita Vedanta, the biggest picture, is of course for the masses and for everybody. But Advaita Vedanta, of course, it is a path for the few ones, the very, very old jivatmas or souls, very, very old ones, and very mature. That's why this teaching is even a very great shock for those who are not ready enough. So this body-mind complex have been teaching for 30 years with the grace of the Lord and my many gurus that I had till now, but still not more than 30 persons are still continuing to wish to continue this path. The rest of thousands that they have been following, they just stopped because of the difficulty of this path. So this teaching is a very big slapping for the ego. The ego, of course, don't want this slapping. The ego don't want to get suicide. So it will do its best to stop you from this teaching, from this path. It will use infinite tricks and troubles and excuses and every kind of way and any means to stop this process. So those who are able to continue are those who are really very, very old souls, and maybe they are in their last reincarnation. So you can see that some mature ones, they are ready to listen that they do not exist as a person, as an individual, as an ego, or as a jivatma. They are able just to even to listen. It is a very big sign that you are ready and mature for this teaching. Most of the people don't even able to listen this information, this teaching, and this phrase that you don't really exist as a person, as an individual, as an ego, as a jivatma soul. So after you see that you are able to listen this shocking phrase, then you have to still to do some more effort, in inverted commas, to attain what we call sraddha, which means faith and trust for the teaching, for the path, for the guru, or the acharya, the teacher. And you have to have this intense desire for liberation, for being free from the tyranny of the ego. And you have to be able to control your senses. You have to be able to wish not to be a slave of your senses and of the ego gratification. And you must also be able to have titiksa, which means being able to sustain and to accept the pleasure and pain, especially the pain and the suffering in this lifetime. As we said before, the suffering, the pain, is due to your past karma, which is called the fruition in this lifetime, which is called prarabdha karma, the karma which is to be dealt of in this lifetime. So this as a summary, are the prerequisites for being able to start this path of Advaita Vedanta, and in particular the study of this text. Furthermore, this teaching is, of course, don't demand from you to learn the Sanskrit terminology and to remember all the terms and to being able to repeat these terms very easily. The point here is to learn and to understand the meaning of the Sanskrit terminology. And gradually, if you wish, you can learn also the Sanskrit terms. But for Westerners, most important is to being able to understand all the meaning and all the terms, their equivalent, of course, in English. So this text that we have, that I have found today, it is more simple, and it has a wonderful glossary built in inside. So it will help you to being able to understand the terms much easier. But of course, whoever have a difficulty in understanding any of the terms, please ask further elaboration, and in order not to have any confusion with the terms. Also, there is no need to learn the pronunciation of the Sanskrit terms. And as I said, if you wish, in the so-called future, you can learn also the Sanskrit words and the pronunciation of the Sanskrit terms. But this is not a prerequisite for being able to start this study, to assimilate it, and to apply it for moksha, liberation, self-liberation, and enlightenment, self-realization. Until now, does anybody wish to ask something or to add something? So I can wait a minute. So I can continue since there are no questions or clarifications needed. So as I was saying before, this study is really for the mature ones. Myself is having the grace and the blessing of my Guruji Swami Paramarthananda, and of course the blessing of the Jagat Gurus of Sringeri. And all this, profound understanding that I may have is due to them and not to me. Actually, I say me, but in the same time, the same moment, I know that there is no me. And what means there is no me? It means that there is no me as a person, an individual, or an ego. What is teaching now, what is offering this teaching, and what is listening, and the substratum where the listening and the speaking is appearing, is the same consciousness. So it seems that there is an acharya or a guru who is giving a teaching to some sishyas, which means students, but in reality, you, the sishyas, the students, the so-called me as an acharya or guru, and the substratum where this listening and teaching takes place is just one consciousness, one self. So when Tattva Bodha says that you need to know yourself, means exactly that, to know yourself as he or she truly is. In reality, as it is, because it is not yourself, is not he or she. The real self, as infinite impersonal consciousness, awareness, presence, is not with a gender. It is not even it. You cannot say that your true self as infinite consciousness, awareness, presence is it, he or she. Why? Because it is beyond any kind of labels and names and forms. You remember, very important teaching in Advaita Vedanta is that whatever appears and disappears is just labels, names and forms. Nama, Rupa, names and forms. So the human thinking is adding, where there is no substance, is adding and superimposing names and forms. It takes gold and immediately somebody makes gold a ring or a bundle, when in reality there is no such thing. There is only gold. So the substantiality of everything that we see in this world is just the same pure consciousness. The essence of everything, of anybody and anything, and the entire universe is mental. It is just a projection, a dream made of your dream dust. I used to say in one of my quotes that whatever you see is made of a dream dust. So it is, nothing is made of any other kind of essence. So everything that you see, everybody that you see, and the entire universe is just pure consciousness. The same, just like when you are dreaming in the night, you believe that there is there some people there where you are interacting with them. And let's say you have been traveling in your dream to another city with your friends, and you are walking in the streets and you are looking at buildings and cars and people walking around you and so on and so forth. And then you may enter to a wonderful restaurant with your friends, and you may enjoy a beautiful dinner with your friends. And suddenly you realize when you wake up that everything that you have been watching in this dream was nothing else than your own consciousness. Everything was made of consciousness. Nothing was there. There were no any kind of substance there except that your own consciousness. So the same in what we call this waking life or waking state. Everything, it seems that it has solidity or substance, a kind of substance, and that it is how to say graspable. But in reality, even the quantum physics now, they see the truth that there is no such thing as solidity in this world. Everything is a quantum soup, according even to the quantum physicists. And this quantum soup, when you ask them, they say that it is made just from energy. And when you go further and you ask, what is this energy? Sooner or later, they will end up saying that it is just information. And what means information except than knowing, except than consciousness? So you your real self, consciousness, is just knowing. In one of my quotes, in one of my books, Redefining Self-Realization, I write, everything is knowing, knowing, knowing. That the absolute truth is that there is only knowing, knowing, knowing. What means that? That the substance and the only reality is pure knowing. Imagine if you stop and remove the knowing of any of your experiences. Let's say you are having an experience of eating an ice cream. If you were to remove the knowing of this experience of eating an ice cream, what can possibly remain? If you check it and you do a scrutiny on that, you will see that nothing can exist, nothing can appear or disappear, and there is no experience if there is no knowing prior to that. So everything is knowing, everything that appears and disappears is knowing, everything appears and disappears in this knowing, everything that appears and disappears is made of knowing consciousness, and everything and everybody and the entire universe is just the same self with capital S, the same consciousness. And this is the ultimate, the absolute truth. Now, to being able to have this realization for yourself and to be that your own experience and your own profound understanding, recognition, and conviction, it may need more processing through study texts such as the Tattva Bodhah and more gradually more profound ones, step by step. Now, whatever I say, it may be just an information, it may be a wonderful or even shocking teaching, but sooner or later, if you will have the courage and the guts to continue, this teaching, this will be completely your own profound understanding, recognition, and conviction. And when it will become permanent, this recognition and conviction that I am consciousness, awareness, presence, not a person, not a soul, not an ego, not an individual, then this takes place, moksha, self-realization, enlightenment. So self-realization, enlightenment, or moksha is not an exotic event. It's not an event, a mystical event, as a lot of fake traditions and fake teachers are presenting in order to impress the ignorant masses. A lot of people, they just wait. They are doing some practice and they are following a teacher or a spiritual path, and they're just waiting something to dawn upon them, something exotic, something marvelous, and something with lights and stars and thunders and whatever. And they just wait, and they say, when it will come, this magnificent event? When I will go to the mirror and I will see around me just a wonderful halo or beautiful colors or light, and the others will say, wow, it is written in his forehead that he is an enlightened one. You can see he's full of light and he's having around him wonderful colors. No, there is no such thing. Enlightenment, self-realization, moksha is just a profound understanding. It is just a permanent recognition and conviction that, oh, I was never a wave in the ocean. I was always the entire ocean. I was always this beautiful water of the entire ocean, where I am appearing as many waves, but I was always this full ocean. So it is not about having mystical or exotic experiences. These experiences, these mystical experiences, they may appear, but they are irrelevant from this permanent recognition and conviction of your true nature. You may have many, many nice experiences, but this is irrelevant. Even these mystical experiences are very much condemned in the scriptures. And we have many, many stories written in the scriptures about sages who were having occult powers and see this and read this, supernatural powers, and suddenly they became really like demons. And they were using these powers to reinforce their ego, their illusion that they are somebody very, very exotic and very, very better than the so-called others. So they have developed pride, they have developed this uh, awful attitude that I'm like God and I can do whatever I want, and look at me, how many spiritual powers I have, and so on and so forth. So if we can see that in our path, in our study, and in our practice, we are searching and we are trying to accumulate spiritual powers or occult powers, and we are trying to impress others with our powers and with our power of practice and meditation, then we are not in a good path. And at the same time, we have a pure path, a pure lineage, an authentic spiritual lineage, which is beginningless, such as Sanatana Dharma and Advaita Vedanta, where the point of view is just self-knowledge, jnanam. It means self-knowledge. And self-knowledge we can receive from Tattva Bodhah, from scriptural study, sastram study. We can receive from the grace and the blessings from this lineage and from the guru or acharya who had received the same blessing from his guru, and his guru from his guru, and so on and so forth. So the formula for attaining self-realization, moksha, enlightenment have been all the time given instructions from the sages and from the holy lineage how you can attain that. And it is Sravanam, which means listening and study the scriptures, the sastram, under a competent guru and acharya, following an authentic and pure holy tradition. Then Mananam, which means clarifying the teaching with the guru, asking questions, deleting all your doubts, solving all your doubts, and finally, Nindidhyasanam, Vedantic meditation, where You don't need anymore to clarify something. You don't need to solve any of your doubts. But now you need to assimilate. You need to apply the teaching in yourself and in your daily life. And of course, at the same moment, to offer Loka Sangraham, which means purification and upliftment for the society, the humanity. So that is the process. And all this, you do it, of course, by doing spiritual practice all day, sadhana, under the guidance of a true guru, a true acharya. Now, Tattva Bodha presupposes that you have been receiving some basic moral teaching and some basic instructions for a spiritual lifestyle. And that's why usually Tattva Bodha will be given to those who are already under the guidance of a competent guru. Long time before the guru will decide to give this text for this study. So that's why we need again and again to come to remind you these basic things. And we will return again and again to the basics. And which are these basics? Tattva Bodha mentioned some of them in these verses that Andrew have read before, but there are also other instructions as well. For example, you have to follow a moral life. You have to be kind. You have to lead a life which is contributing to the society and to the humanity in general. Because if you are not a contributor and you are only a consumer, this will not help you in this study. So you have to contribute one way or another to the society and not to be only a consumer. And sooner or later, you may understand that Tattva Bodha is not enough for self-knowledge. It will give you, of course, a very nice foundation, but sooner or later you will see that many questions will do appear, and many doubts, and many things to discuss with your guru. Tattva Bodha is just a fundamental text in Advaita Vedanta, and of course you cannot stop on that text. After we will finish Tattva Bodha, we will go to study together the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and there we will see even more how we should lead a spiritual lifestyle and how to be masters of our senses and our mind, and not to be a servant of our mind and our senses. So maybe to make a pause of 1 minute to see if there is somebody who wishes to ask or to comment. The rest, please keep your microphone closed.
Namaste Guruji, I am Malati Hegde.
Namaste, welcome.
Thank you. How do I know that I'm ready for this information? Or how should I know that I'm ready for this knowledge? What would be my qualifications for this?
Look, Andrew, I don't know if you were able to start and to come from the beginning, but Andrew have mentioned before the fourfold qualifications for an adhikari, for a sishya in this path, and in particular in this text, Tattva Bodhah. But generally speaking, the biggest sign is that you are here. And you are ready to open up yourself and to receive this wonderful teaching from the greatest Acharya, Adi Sankaracharya, and that you are devoting time and effort, and instead of being out for entertainment, you came here and you are ready to discover the truth. So this is the biggest sign and the biggest qualification. And of course, to be here, ready to listen and to be receptive, it is due to previous janmas, previous reincarnations, and due to karma yoga. You did spiritual lifestyle, you have sadhana, you did karma yoga, you did in previous lifetimes for sure worshipping an Ista Devata, your personal preference of God as a symbol, and so on and so forth. Because it is mentioned in the scriptures that whoever is coming to the entrance of Advaita Vedanta, asking to be a Sishya, is due to the grace of Isvara. And the grace of Isvara is appearing only due to infinite karma yoga that somebody did before in previous janmas, previous reincarnations. Do you need any more elaboration?
No, thank you. Thank you. Because I am asking this question because for now or in this Janma, I don't have any bhakti. Means I'm not into pujas and this thing, mantra japa or anything. So I was just curious whether I am qualified for this or not. That was my question. So thank you.
Yes, as I said before, the biggest sign is that you are here knocking the door. And by knocking the door to enter this text and this path is showing that you did worshipping and puja and Vedic rituals and sadhana in previous janmas. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here knocking the door. And furthermore, you may not remember that you did your preparation in previous lifetimes, but that doesn't mean that you didn't do them. You didn't prepare yourself. So it is more than enough that you are here knocking the door. And as even one of the greatest self-realized ones, Jesus Christ said, knock the door and it will be open for you. So since you are here knocking the door will open and you will receive this teaching just because you have the intention to receive and just because you are here.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Anybody else?
Yeah, just an observation. I understand the teaching so far, a little bit intellectually, that everything is one consciousness, and sometimes I feel inspired and I get a little bit of a taste, maybe a little bit, because in the past I've had many lucid dreams, and I can remember what it's like being in a lucid dream, and sometimes I can get a small feeling for this teaching, but it doesn't last very long, and most of the time I feel there's a huge distance between where I am now and where I should be going, because it's infinite consciousness, and I feel my consciousness goes to about here. It's like my consciousness is like 1 inch, and I'm trying to get to infinite consciousness. And so how do you keep the effort when it feels like it's too far away?
Well, you see, this is not only something that you are facing. All the individuals, the apparent individuals, they are experiencing the same contraction and the same difficulty. And actually, what is the problem is ahankara, which means the identification with the body-mind complex. So this attachment to the body-mind complex is what we call in other times as mula avidya, which means the ignorance. And this ignorance have to be resolved only with knowledge, jnana, vidya. So the next question will be then, and how I can have knowledge, jnana, vidya? By applying to your lifestyle and to yourself all the previous instructions that I have mentioned before. Finding a great guru, a competent guru, who is belonging to an authentic, beginningless spiritual lineage. Go to him, ask him for help, ask him to provide to you this jnana, this knowledge, this vidya, which he have been receiving from his guru. And then listening and study the teachings through Sravana, clarifying your questions and solving your doubts through manana, and then finally through Vedantic meditation, nididhyasana, assimilate the teachings, apply them in your life and yourself, and sooner or later, this illusion, this tendency to experience or to feel or to believe that you are located as a self, as a presence, as awareness, as a knowing, into a fleshy thing called brain inside a skull, gradually will be removed. It is due to avidya, to ignorance. And ignorance can be resolved only through knowledge. If you want to learn a foreign language, let's say you want to learn Japanese, you cannot learn Japanese by dancing or by doing jogging or by doing puja or by doing Vedic ritual or by doing meditation. You cannot have self-knowledge by meditation. You can use meditation after you have been receiving Sravana, listening to Shastra, studying the Shastra, the spiritual teachings, clarifying your doubts and your questions, resolving all your difficulties in pure understanding. And then, of course, using meditation, Nididhyasana, Vedantic meditation in our tradition, in Advaita Vedanta, by claiming your true nature as impersonal, infinite awareness, consciousness, Brahman. So, what is ignorance? It is the false belief that I am the body-mind complex or that I am an individual, a jivatma, a body-mind complex, a jivatma, which means a soul, a small part, a puzzle. This is wrong because there are no waves. The waves do appear, but there are no individual waves. There are no autonomous. There are no self-existent. They are borrowing their apparent existence from where? From the ocean, from the water of the ocean. They do not exist by themselves. So if the wave says, I am an individual wave, then this is ignorance. But sooner or later, with moksha or self-realization or enlightenment, the wave will claim its true nature. I was never a separate wave in the ocean. I was always the ocean. And that means that I cannot be located inside myself, the wave. I am not located inside the wave. I am everything. I am all the ocean. I'm all the water of the ocean. I am the entire universe and even beyond the universe. So this false identification that somehow you are located somewhere will be removed by following applying the instructions of the Guru Parampara, which means the instructions of the beginningless, authentic lineage, spiritual lineage. And of course, it may take some processing. It may take 1 second. It may take 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, 10 lifetimes, 1 million lifetimes. It depends from which point you started in this janma, in this lifetime, and how much sadhana, spiritual practice you did in your previous janmas, dream lifetimes. So sooner or later, this illusion that I'm somehow an individual who is located inside this skull will be removed. And actually, it will be the greatest joke for you. And it will appear a day where you will laugh, not being able to stop, saying to yourself, oh, it is so funny and so big joke that I was believing till now that I'm inside this fleshy thing or this skull, and you will be laughing and laughing and laughing. You know, as one great Dzogchen master said, Longchenpa, he said, since there is nothing to reject or to accept, and since there is only this suchness, I fall down laughing unstoppable. Because when you realize the truth about your infinite self, Brahman, and you see that nothing can harm you, nothing can affect you, then it is also like a joke. You want to laugh by your stupidity to believe that you have been an individual, a contracted being, a small being, a small tiny human being with fears and insecurities and problems and troubles and so on and so forth. So relax, take it easy. Andrew. Andrew, the best sisya, the best selfless service I've been found till now. Thank you very much. So anybody else?
Namaste,
Yeah.
Vasek. I am Malati. How to connect with the Guru? You are repeatedly telling that get the knowledge from competent Guru or this one. How to connect with the Guru? That is my question.
So this is a very nice question. In the scriptures, you can find all the prerequisites that a guru have to show in his everyday life. And also there are instructions in the scriptures, in the Shastram, on how to find if this guru, this particular guru, is the best for you. First of all, a guru, a real acharya, should belong to a beginningless, real, and authentic lineage, tradition, spiritual tradition. Secondly, this particular guru or acharya should have been receiving teachings, instructions, guidance, grace, and blessing from his own guru, and his own guru from his own guru, and so on and so forth. Furthermore, the guru is never allowed to charge anything at all. A real guru will never charge. A real guru will accept possible donations or guru daksina, which can be even just some service or karma yoga, or just offering to him a flower, or appreciation and respect, or just cleaning his ashram, his spiritual center, or trying to do loka sangraham in the name of the spiritual tradition of the guru. Furthermore, when you meet a guru, you can feel if this particular guru is for you by particular signs. One sign is if you feel santihi with him, if you feel peace, if you can relax with this guru. If you are close to the guru, or if you are listening to this guru, and if you are somehow connected with this guru, if you feel nice, if you feel peaceful, if you feel blissful, if you feel that you are learning, if you feel that the guru wishes you to attain moksha, and what he's doing is selfless service and not due to his desire for sense gratification or for his ego, then you should be sure that this particular guru or acharya is for you. Actually, you must, by any means, ask yourself again and again in your heart, this guru is really for me? Does this guru help me to understand? Does this guru says that the true guru is within me, and that the true guru is me, myself, as infinite, impersonal consciousness, awareness, Brahman? Then this guru who is saying to you that the true guru, the real guru, is you yourself, your real self, as infinite Brahman consciousness, awareness, then this is a real guru. Any kind of a so-called guru or acharya who says to you, you must be always my follower and you must always be dependent on me, he is a fake guru, a fake acharya. especially if he's charging, especially if he's accumulating wealth, especially if he's using his sishyas for his sense gratification, especially and sadly if he's using his sishyas for sexual gratification, then you must run from this kind of a fake guru. So a real guru will always be humble. A real guru will always say and confirm that whatever he is conveying is due to the grace of his guru and his holy parampara, guru lineage. Will never charge, will always do selfless service, will be always living a simple life, not accumulating wealth, not being interested to promote himself or to propagate his name or trying to do something for his glory, but always he will be a servant of his guru and a holy spiritual tradition where he do belongs. So we may say more and we can elaborate more, but let me know if you wish something.
Yes, I understood whatever you are telling. But nowadays, since I am living in a remote area, whatever I am listening these Advaita lessons or any spiritual things, that is through internet only. Means YouTube lessons, YouTube satsangas. So by listening one person's this one satsangas repeatedly, may I consider himself as my guru, or he considers me as his shishya? That is my question.
Yes, very interesting question. And I have been asking the same question to my guru, Swami Paramarthanandaji, and he said, of course, to be in the living presence and the living grace of your guru, like being person to person, as we say, it is much more beneficial. But due to circumstances and difficulties in life, if you are not being able to be in the proximity of your guru, but you are able only to listen to him through internet or through any kind of means, then that is million times or billion times or trillion times much better than you don't listen at all any spiritual teachings or not having at all a guru. So, for example, if you are listening to the teachings and you are receiving satsanga even through internet, through Skype or through any other means, it is much more better than not to receive at all. So if, for example, you are appearing in this Skype Satsanga, you are considered to be Sishya of this holy Guru Parampara, no matter if you are in the proximity or in the physical proximity or not, because you have been receiving jnanam, self-knowledge teachings, no matter if you are in the physical proximity or not. So you should be relaxed. You should bless Isvara, the Lord, for this blessing that you are able, even through internet, even through an online satsang, to attain moksha, self-liberation, enlightenment, self-realization.
Thank you, Guru.
You are welcome. Anybody else?
Yes, hi. This is Vasilis. Thank you for accepting me in the group. Namaste, Guruji.
Most welcome.
The question is this, regarding Jnana Yoga and the knowledge. Is this knowledge that will be attained something that you do through reading, or is it a pre-existing knowledge that we already have inside us, something that needs to be rediscovered? Especially for me, whenever I read the Vedas or the Gitas, I can only find truth to whatever registers inside of me already. But there are some parts of it which I do not understand, I do not comprehend intellectually, and I'm still waiting for them to be revealed somehow. Thank you.
So very nice comment, and very interesting topic. We will go again and again through this topic, and we will elaborate more and more. But for now, I can say that it is not for sure only intellectual understanding, but it is mostly this profound experiencing and profound understanding through your heart. So it is not, you should not consider moksha, self-realization, enlightenment, something that can appear only by the thinking process, but rather than a combination of profound understanding, deep in your heart, in the heart of your hearts, and at the same time experiencing the truth, confirming the truth through your lifestyle and in yourself, through meditation, Vedantic meditation, nididhyasana, which will be applied after you have received the spiritual teaching through Sravana, and after through clarifying the spiritual teaching through Mananam. So it needs to have patience. The knowledge that you are seeking is seeking you as well. You are the knowledge. The knowledge is not something outside of you. You are the knowledge. You are the infinite knowing consciousness, awareness, Brahman. Only you keep not noticing it. So you have to stop, keep noticing it, not noticing it, and start keep noticing it constantly. And when this notice will become permanent, then this is what we call self-realization, enlightenment, or moksha. It is when you, as I said earlier, when you have a permanent recognition and conviction that what you are is impersonal consciousness, awareness, presence. And everything appears and disappears in the substratum of your own self. So this now may be an information or a nice teaching for you, for your ears, but sooner or later, if you continue your study and your practice and your effort, it will dawn a day where it will be a permanent recognition and conviction. And then you can play also the role of an external guru or acharya. But actually, the real guru is within, is your own self. It is you, your own self, who is projecting this appearance. So who is teaching right now and who is listening, and the substratum where this listening and teaching takes place is the same consciousness, the same self. Now, this may appear now to you very exotic or very difficult, but I assure you that if you continue this path with honesty and sincerity, which I believe you already possess, then it will dawn. It will dawn for you this permanent and profound recognition and conviction of your true nature.
Thank you very much. It doesn't sound exotic at all. As soon as you listen, someone speaking that and addressing it to you, it somehow rings true. Thank you very much.
Most welcome. Anybody else? The anybody always in inverted commas, because sooner or later you may see that there is no anybody.
Namaste. Hello. Thank you so much. The teachings are such a relief. They're wonderful. It's hard for me to articulate this, so please have some patience, because it's a question that is a burning question for me. So how you say nothing ever happens and nothing will ever happen, and intuitively, I can totally understand that on an intuitive level, not maybe intellectually at the moment. And the fact that, there will be joy and laughter at the ridiculousness of having taken this so seriously, I also can intuitively understand. But on the way to moksha, we are, living the prarabdha karma, the karma that we need to deal with in this lifetime. And when I look around, I'm just wondering if it's a collective karma, or if it's or if there's both collective and personal, because at the moment, for example, with the pandemic, is that my personal construction? Is that a worldwide construction? And how much should we actually engage with it, knowing that actually it's only stardust? But what will accrue more karma, engaging with it or not engaging with it? Does that make any sense?
Well, very, very interesting topic, and of course we will elaborate more and more in the coming Satsanga online. But I can say a few things for now. For example, this prarabdha karma is not really existent. We speak about a prarabdha karma because somebody believes that he or she exists as an individual or as a jivatma, or as a soul, or as an ego, or as a personality. So as long as somebody believes that, there appears a teaching which is trying to to make smoothly this wrong conclusion about his or herself. So the teaching appears to help those apparent individuals by saying that there is no an external God who is making you suffering, or who is creating problems to the planet, or pandemics, or plandemics, or any kind of problems at all. But it is you yourself who is creating this pain and suffering and prarabdha karma to your own self. But sooner or later, after a mature state, you will recognize that there is no such thing as prarabdha karma or karma in general. So karma is existing only for the one who does not exist. Your true nature as infinite impersonal awareness consciousness does not, I repeat, does not have any kind of karma, or any kind of troubles, or any kind of suffering, or any kind of problems. And you may be able to confirm that if you don't think for a second, let's say, or some seconds, and you can do that with me now. Let's say for 1 second, 2 seconds, if you don't think Do you have any problems? Is it possible to have any problems? Answer to me. Check it out from your experience and answer to me.
I think I'm going to have to think about that for a bit longer.
Yeah. So if you don't think, there are no problems. The problems do appear, prarabdha karma do appear, pandemic do appear when you are thinking about it. There is no such thing as the planet or as the universe or as the beings or as the problems and troubles in humanity, the wars and all the rest. It is just like a dream. Even Buddha said that everything is just like the dream. It is just like the rainbow. It does appear, but it does not really exist. It is the same as Buddha said, as the moon on the surface of the water or the surface of the river. It does really appear, the moon, but it does not really exist. So the world is a reflection, a projection due to Maya, due to mula avidya, ignorance. And in reality, it does not exist at all. So there is no creation, there is only appearance. It is a magical soul lasting 3 to 5 days, as Astavakra says to Janaka in Astavakra Gita. Now, this appears, of course, very exotic and very difficult and very extreme to your ears. But sooner or later, if you continue this path, if you continue this study and this research and this inquiry to your true self, to your true nature, you will see that I have never been a person. There are no persons. There are no separate beings, separate individuals. But there is only one infinite consciousness, whereupon, as a substratum, everything appears and disappears. Of course, until you will see this truth, you have to follow the teaching, which is called Vyavaharika, which means the teaching of Sanatana Dharma, and in particular of Advaita Vedanta, which deals with the empirical world, as we call it, or the dream world, the illusory world. And after, when you are mature enough, we can go to the paramartika teaching, the transcendental teaching, the transcendental wisdom of Advaita Vedanta, where it will be shown to you that you have never had any karma, you have never been a person, you have never been an individual, a jivatma, or an ego, or a soul. But until this moment, you can live a better, a harmonious life, a peaceful life by applying the teaching and the instructions from the Vyavaharika teaching, from the empirical world or the illusory dream world, where the rishis, the great sages, have been offered to the apparent humanity. So I'm sure this is not enough, but we will elaborate in the next coming lessons as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I guess because the time passed a lot, the so-called time is 18 minutes past 7. I close the session satsang for today, since we have been saying that it will be only 1 hour, and we will continue with the grace and permission of God in the next coming satsangas. So thank you very much all for your presence here, and I wish you all the best. And is there anybody who wishes to chant a traditional Vedic mantra or a traditional way of closing our satsanga?
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Purnamisishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.